Right, we'll do a very quick run through of the Honeywell Circular Paperless recorder, and this is part of, there's 4 paperless recorders from Honeywell. The main ones, in fact, so we're in the fluidic calibration lab, as we've said just now in the workshop. There's quite a wee bit going on just now. And one of the instruments we've got back for Cal is the Daddy. It's a Honeywell multi-trend. Now this takes up to 64 inputs. It's obviously powered off just now, but just to show you the size, that eyeballing that about 300, 350, probably about 250 mil deep. It's designed to go sort of metal case, so you go in a control panel. That 64 is a modular design, so that's 64 inputs is over 8 cards, each card having 8 inputs. The mini trend is pretty much exactly the same, but about a quarter of the size, same kind of depth, 16 inputs, 2 banks of up to 8 on the cards, and there's an easy trend which is a low cost version of the mini trend. But we're talking about the circular one today. One thing I like about this, just to show you, if we can come around the side, you can see it's quite a shallow instrument. It's also kind of plastic, all designed for, you could just surface mount that on the wall. We've got it sitting on the bench just now. It's a kettle plug power supply. You could hardwire that and all the rest of it, but as you see, it's got a circular chart on it, and that's the main difference. Apart from the sort of size of it, that's the difference between that and the mini trend. Are very, very similar devices. You can actually have a standard ship chart recorder. So this has got 6 pens, 6 inputs. We've just done 1 pen per input. You can have up to 6 pens, I think, per input. So you could have pen 1 as input 1 temperature, pen 2 as input 2 temperature, pen 3 is the difference between pen 1 and pen 2, something like that if you wanted. We don't have anything connected just now, it's just sitting on the bench, but we've set it up to sit at 50% kind of thing. It's just the way we've fudged it. Pops up to the demo, there we go. The values, the process variables, I'll say 50%, 49.91%, there we go, we need to do a wee calibration on it. Maximum values, minimum values, obviously nothing's changing. You can have a bar graph, which I really like, because if you think of an analog gauge, analog pressure gauge or thermometer, the real selling point of analog gauges is you know what's happening. You know, if the needle sits in the middle of the gauge, everything's probably all right. You know, if you're looking at a digital gauge and it says 5 bar or 60 degrees, what does that tell you? Unless you know what's happening in that process, not very much. But you know, if you're instrument tech on site, you walk by a gauge and it's sitting a red line and up the top, analog gauge, you're like, that's a problem, I'm going to look into that. That's what a bar graph does too, you know, you can see it sit in the middle, things are probably all right. Circular recorder, so that's the screens. Let's show the configuration. This touch screen is excellent, I have to say. As I said, that didn't work, but it's very good. So the field inputs and outputs, the analog input, we've got an analog input card fitted and we've got an alarm card fitted. It's a modular design, so in fact here is a couple of cards, a couple of things, components sitting about. We could fit analog outputs, so we could retransmit 40 to 20 milliamps or do something like that. We could fit pulse inputs if you had flow meters and things like that, but we don't have them fitted, and that means it's greyed out. The instrument, the recorder recognises that. It's a 6-channel analog input card, a single 6-channel card. Universal inputs. Oh, enable, disable. We've got it set as voltage, that can be 0 to 10 volt, you have 40 to 20 milliamps, resistance, RT is RTD, usually a PT100, but PT100, PT1000, CU500, you name it. Thermocouple, all the different types of thermocouples, Ks, Ts, all the usual. It's a 8-channel alarm card we've got. Actually, the bottom two, you notice, are I/O. Bottom two being so they're configurable for inputs and outputs. So you could put a switch, for example, a temperature switch, into that recorder, and on the chart, if that tripped, you would see that trip coming from the switch. Okay. Screens are configurable. You can actually configure the screen, so you can put like the software to do this, but you can configure to put like a photo or something on the screen. So say you had a tank, maybe you had a tank farm, you could have multiple screens and you could have a photo of each tank on the screen with a bar chart beside it. You could go 0 to 100% how full it is, and it would show the level reading off a radar or something like that, and you could have one screen for each of the tanks. So you can stand at the recorder, it's very clear what tank you're looking at it because there's a photo of it there. You can configure the pens, you can configure how recording happens. There is recordings down to, I think it's every second, and then there's fast scan on top of that. But there's so much functionality with these things. One of the features with the trend view recorders, and again, this is pretty much in all of them, well, it isn't all of them actually, so all 4, is the credits. So if I go into configuring the general factory credits, what are credits? So credits unlock extra functionality. So that could be things like maths functions, events, fast scan. You can read that. Totals if you had a flow meter. So one of the most popular ones that I really like is the remote view. So remote view, if you wanted, you can hook this recorder, any of the recorders, onto a network. There's an Ethernet connection inside them all. And if you go to any browser and point to the IP address of the recorder, you'll get this screen exactly as that, fully functional. You can configure, you can click buttons and move it about, and it will replicate on the recorder. So you can do that from a nice warm office as opposed to a freezing cold factory floor. You can do things like batching. So that remote view would be 3 credits, so you need to have some sort of credits. We've got 50 credits, and this is it's our demo kit. We want to have everything on it so we can show people. Batching for flow meters, counters for totalizing, Modbus master. It's just like to show there's loads of functionality you can do with this, and we can talk about these different applications. The other thing we really want to talk about, let's see, finish, is the software, which you can't show here. As standard, it comes with Trend Viewer software. Now actually, first of all, you don't need software. It can export, you can set this up to export as a CSV, which you can go into Excel. If you're happy with that, job done. Let me move these out of the way. Inside the recorder, here's a USB. At the top, USB slots, so a common way. Export to a USB, CSV file, into your laptop, off you go. You also get Trend View software, which does it the graphing for you. It's a wee bit, if you're not that familiar with Excel, Trend View is pretty good. Trend Manager, which costs a few £100. It's a step up, and it gives you more functionality, and you can manipulate a bit more. On top of that, then you get up to Trend Server. You don't need a USB at all then. It's on your network, and you can access it from anywhere. You can access the information all the time. It'll just save to your server. Yeah, that's pretty much it.